Hi, we're live. All right, today, well, first of all, hi everybody. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
everyone.
We are going to talk about what's it like to be a special needs mom and the challenges that you face and the blessings that you receive, because I think it's both. And kind of hear from Angie a little bit, just from her life, because she has two amazing boys that I am the auntie to and adore. And so I just want to kind of get into this. And, again, we're hoping that one day we can be live and have some interactions with y'all.
Yes, so we need more subscribers. We need 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
Tell your
Share it.
friends.
Tell your
Yeah.
friends.
So I just want to, I want to know, and I want to go deep. That's, me. So tell us what nobody knows, which is so much,
Um,
by the way, because,
okay, number one thing that nobody knows is that, so if you don't know me or you do know me, I'm not going to talk too much about my children specifically, although I'm going to mix in what I've learned and some stories maybe about my kids, but just because this is their medical journey and their stuff, I'm probably not going to be specific with my kids, and that way you'll
yeah,
just be mysterious. You won't know which questions or which things pertain to my children or just what I've learned in general. So introduced to the special needs world, um, 2013. Okay. So one thing I want to say that people don't know is your children can be diagnosed with autism very early. You do not have to wait till they're 3. A lot of people say you don't have to wait till they're 3. You have to wait till they're 3. There's no way to diagnose them early. That is not true. And the reason why for me I have knew it wasn't true, it's because I had 2. So I had 2 children that were acting completely different. So I could have
twins.
told you
They
twins,
were twins. Yeah.
they were twins. I could have told you from day 1 that my one kiddo who's more presents as more severe, um, didn't like his skin. He didn't like being in his skin. He didn't like being here. Everything, it felt like his skin was on fire. He was just miserable. Whereas the other one, and because we were in the NICU, there were 22 babies. I could see other babies. They were okay in their skin. They were fighting for their lives. They were premature, the other babies in the NICU, but you could see the difference. My son, the one that I'm sharing about, wanted to crawl out of the isolette. He was just so uncomfortable being like with the sensory input is how I would
Mhm.
determine that now. So the main thing I want to say, number one, is you can get a diagnosis early. Okay. It's still controversial and still a lot of people are not happy with or comfortable with a diagnosis. I found that people would rather have an oppositional defiance disorder diagnosis or ADHD as opposed to an autism diagnosis.
Mm.
Um, the other thing that's complex is that within a family, you may have one within a couple, you may have one person that says, "Oh, boys will be boys," and the other one person that says, "Something's wrong.
Mm.
Something's wrong with my baby. Something's wrong with my child. My son's still not talking." Right?
Mhm.
And so I think a diagnosis is in some cases, in some families, a bad word.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
in some countries, it's a bad word.
Yeah.
There are certain countries where you do not want to have
Yeah.
a
Absolutely.
neurodivergent child.
Mhm.
There's certain states where the services are not as good as the other. Once
Mhm.
you get into this special needs world, especially with the internet and with um, everything, TikTok, Instagram, all the stuff that we have now, you can get into these chats and you can see that parents will say, what state should I move to for my kid to have better services? And parents will give
Mhm.
you a few states. So
Wow.
even in our own country,
Yeah.
still, we are very lucky in this country and definitely in the state that we live in. We're very lucky to have the services that we have.
Mhm. But finding that community is vital.
You have to find a community.
Yeah.
You have to find a community and you have to find people that you can trust.
Mhm.
You have to find the helpers. And also, 80% of people with disabilities get sexually or physically abused. That's a big number. So you
Wow.
have to find people that you can trust. You also have to understand that while there's a standard, that we all like assume the kind of patience that you need to be around children, right?
Mhm.
We kind of get it. Like people come over and your kids are playing and we all kind of get into this wave of like, okay, I'm in a house that's not me wine and cheese, but there's like children in the room or in and out of the room. We start talking a little different, paying attention a little more.
Mhm.
But if that's a 0 to 100 with regular neurotypical kids, you probably amp yourself up to like a 30. With special
Wow.
needs kids, you got to amp yourself up to like 80. And it's
Mm.
all the time. I tell people that
Mhm.
my life with my special needs kiddo was like being a Secret Service agent and a fireman at the same time. Where are the exits? What's going to
Hmm.
happen? You stop wearing heels, you
Being
start
on.
wearing flats, you start pulling your hair back, you're not wearing makeup anymore. There's just like people, a lot of what I noticed when I went to this first it's talk about curing autism. It's an organization which everything in autism is controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. But I go to this convention and I'm looking around and everyone's wearing jeans and everyone's gained a couple pounds and everyone's got their hair cut. And
Mm.
that's because special needs kiddos will grab your hair and pull it and then headbutt you sometimes. Not all of them,
Mhm.
but sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like you get prepared for whatever's going to come at you.
Mm. So what is something like, I know you're in a different stage, and I think every stage of raising your kids, um, you change as a mom. You change, you grow, and they change. And so, how you interact, how you do things changes.
Yeah.
Right when they were young, like 5 and under, right?
Mhm.
What was something that nobody knew for you? Like what you were dealing with and having to manage that, you
I
know
think I think the biggest challenge with twins and definitely with special needs kiddos is the sleep deprivation. I think everything else is manageable with helpers. But I think the sleep deprivation is what got me and what I felt like I wish I used to actually my mom's older obviously than me, but at that time she was living in a senior community and I thought to myself, because I know a lot of special needs moms, I thought to myself it would be great to get an apartment in that community that us special needs moms would just share where we could just go just to sleep one night
wow.
because you cannot sleep in your own house.
Mm.
You're on guard. You work at home. So it's your job. It's like basically like I know residents, doctors, they like
Mhm.
sleep in the break
They
room or
have
they
like a
they
room.
have like
Yeah.
cot rooms.
Yeah.
Like that's basically your life is the sleep deprivation I think that I
Mm.
was managing. So I did have 2 and that's different because even just 2 typical children developing, they go from like sleeping to not sleeping. So I remember one night in particular, I had one son that was up until 11, the other one went to bed at like 7. So then one went to bed at like 7:30, the other one went to bed at like 9. So I was up with my one that stayed up late till 9:30. Well, as soon as he went to bed, the other guy woke up at 11, and then the other guy woke up at 1, and then that guy woke up at 3, and then the other guy woke up at 5 or 4,
Gosh.
and so I wasn't sleeping.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
and I only remember that because there was a time where they started sleeping through the night, and it felt like I was taking, like I would imagine what heroin feels like to be able to sleep because I got
Mm.
to sleep. And then something happened and they weren't sleeping again. And I felt like an addict. I was like, if there was a drug that I could take, I would take it now because I just want to sleep.
You're
So
just
it's
so
the
tired.
sleep deprivation that you
So
cannot,
exhausted.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And you love your children. Okay,
Well,
so let's
yeah.
just forget
Yeah.
about the hard part. I want to be with my son. If my son can't sleep at night, I want to hold him. I want to comfort him. I want to soothe him back to
But
sleep.
sometimes you don't. I mean, even as a mother, there were times I was like, "Please, God, please. I'm so tired. I'm so tired." You're just so exhausted. You're begging because, you want if the freaking 2-year-old's up, then the baby's asleep and vice versa. It's just yeah, it just happens where you're just sleep deprived. But you having twins is like it's that
And I think
already is like 2 different directions
you
in
been
one.
bring up a really good point. And I will say this, I will say that for the most part, moms are moms, special needs, regular, neurotypical, you know, I can't think of I've had a couple gentlemen or a couple guys that didn't quite get it. And then of course you get your people that are judging you for not raising your kid properly at Walmart with the bright lights and everything. But you
Mhm.
know, for the most part, moms are very understanding. Other
Mhm.
moms get it.
Yeah.
They know they don't have an autistic child or a special needs child, but they know what it feels like to be so desperate and so tired and have given up your identity to a certain extent during a certain period of life. And
Mhm.
I think that's the other thing that is challenging or that is heartbreaking is the fact that you don't know if your child's going to develop enough to be independent by the time you're gone.
Mhm.
And raising a kiddo knowing that like I'm not going to finish my work with him in my lifetime can be
Mm.
very profound.
Yes.
But that crosses autism, that can go into other, I
Yeah.
always in my work, I call it like an exceptional diagnosis. So that goes in, like kids with diabetes, childhood diabetes, like or kids with food allergies,
Mhm.
that they're teenagers now and they're allergic to nuts. And it's
Mhm.
like, how am I going to be there at prom with my kid when
Mhm.
someone wants her to try a brownie, a
Mhm.
regular brownie? I mean, like that happened in our community. We lost a girl. Her parents got her all the way to to high school, and she had a bite of a brownie and didn't get the EpiPen quick enough. So
Oh
it's
my
like I
gosh.
think us as moms, we get it. We all get it. It's a heightened level,
Yeah.
and there is no rest as much respite, but you know, we can understand.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, I know these are personal things I'm asking you, but like raising kids is hard on a marriage. I would imagine raising kids with special needs is even harder on a marriage because you're even more distracted, you're even more stressed. Um, so talk to me about that journey for you guys.
So that journey for us has really been I will say this, for the most part, has been very good because I think in the beginning, before we really understood how long autism lasted,
Mhm.
I have a very cooperative husband who's like, just tell what's going, yeah, let's go. He'd go to the doctor or he would say like, I can't go, but I know you got this. If it has to do with the kids, I know you got it. And so that was very helpful. I have to say that because some, a lot of times, and this is like one of the things that a girlfriend of mine who also has a special needs son and her husband is in the marriage. Um, a lot of times, a wonderful guy that, it's like these guys, they're in it to win it, right? But but the standard for men is, oh, he didn't leave. You're so lucky. And we joke about that. We've
Mm.
joked with our husbands and said, like, you realize that the standard for moms is up here, and the standard for the man is, wow, you stayed. Because
Wow.
a lot of men don't stay. A lot
They
of men
don't
do
stay
leave.
because it's too stressful with the kids with the special
I've thought about that and I don't know what the stressful part is. I don't know if the stress is the kids because I know most of the women just jump in
needs.
and
Mhm.
take care of all that needs to be handled. But or if it's the lack of intimacy that you want to have because your partner is busy. And I don't mean sex, just in general, like watching a TV show
Conversation.
together
Yeah.
or going out. We've been very lucky and we've had help. And that's the other thing I think that people with special needs kids don't realize. And that's kind of like it's a, it's a, it's an oversight and a barrier is that how much help that it really does take. I remember the first time we went away for the weekend, it took like 21 people to cover 2 nights for us.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
therapists and respite workers and family and friends that were just on hold in case they needed to weigh in, but they weren't gonna actually be at our house. And
Mhm.
then, just it's just a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even the teachers at the time, they knew we were going out of town for the weekend. They're like, "So I'm around if you need anything." And of course, it's not their job. That's above and beyond, but they know your kiddos.
Yeah.
They know your kids better than anyone else. They're with them every day. And I think that's something I was trying to touch on earlier is like I have um developed a really high tolerance for patience and for capacity, you know, um
I like that. Yep.
and because of that, I don't really know what's hard. So that's the other thing where when people
Mm.
say like there's so many memes and jokes about a special needs parent finding a sitter, it's like because I remember I had left my mom. I always say the same thing. So I know that this is what I said, but like when you're with my kids or kid, just be with them. I don't need you to clean. I don't need you to fold a towel. I don't need you to like wipe the sink. Just be with my kid because they don't understand autism. And so my mom decided to do some laundry while she was watching my son. Well, and perimeter always. And so I guess what happened, the gardener came, he left the side door open, and my mom was doing laundry, watching my son.
Mhm.
And he walked out of the side yard and went down the street and was gone for 45 minutes. So I had to call
Gosh.
the police. What happened was he had walked to the neighbors and went into her house. She's 92. She did not have the capacity or the training to coach my son out of her house. So she was stuck in her house with my
Mm.
son in her house looking at all these fans. So she couldn't even go outside to say, like, I have a child in here. Can someone? I mean, she could have called 911, but she's just this really nice lady who, like,
Oh my
just
gosh.
didn't know what to do. She
Yeah.
didn't know what
Yeah.
to do. And so that's one of the things that people don't realize is that you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what to transfer to other people that they may not know. So I would say just
Mhm.
keep an eye on him. Just watch him.
So it's
One,
gotta be hard on the marriage in that you guys don't actually get time away
you don't
from
get
each
time
other.
away and you don't get the regular milestones that people get to enjoy,
Mm.
with the walking, and you share some of those milestones with therapists instead of with your partner
Mm. Mhm.
because your
Mhm.
partner's not there. Your
Mhm.
partner's working or
Mhm.
you're the other thing is having people in your house. My kids were in therapy starting at like 18 months. And so
Yeah, I remember that.
as a
You
new
you had
mom,
you had people early, which was phenomenal. I think it's made all the difference
it really
with
has.
the boys. Yeah.
But I had to give up that special sacred. I had to grieve the fact that my children's little years were shared with other people that I didn't even know,
Mhm.
not just special with me and my husband,
Yeah. Yeah.
or my family and
Grandparents, yeah.
friends. There were like a worker.
Yeah, and I think, I wonder if that's a permission that you give right now or you remind other moms and dads that get support, it's okay,
You
you
have to
know?
have support. I did the 3rd year that I had support because 'cause I'm a very, I don't know, I just like certain little traditions, and I'm very, like I'm kind of more formal than I let on, and I like to give gifts during the holidays. I'd like to have something for the mailman. I like to give the teachers an annual thing. Like, I like these little meaningful things, and a lot of moms do that, but I had made a list. I started making a list, and there were 47 people on the list.
Mm.
And so I was originally gonna give them all, like, a bouquet or a meaningful gift, and I just ended up getting pens.
So 47 people that year that you're like, "I could say thank you," that have helped me on
Yeah,
this journey, specifically in the area of raising my kids.
for my children. So when
Wow.
people think they can do it alone,
They
I
get burnt
think
out.
there's, like, a few things you have to, like, denial that has to break. One, your life is over. It's done. It's a new normal. And I
Mm.
think that's a really hard one. I still don't
Yeah.
think I've let it go, and it's been 12 years, but, like, one of the partners, it's not the way you thought it was gonna be at all, and I think if you go in with eyes wide open on that, and you just start figuring out the new normal and looking for, like, the magic in the
Mhm.
day, then that's better, the earlier the better. The second thing is it's gonna take everything that you have and more,
Mm.
everything. You know,
Mm.
I remember, like, all of our, like, wedding gifts were broken, you know, like,
Mhm.
my favorite thing was gone, all the things just start the friends change, the family members change, the church you used to go to, I mean, all that stuff. One example that I can give that sounds so privileged, but such like an iconic milestone for me was I remember I'm gonna cry, but I remember going to Disneyland, and, this is before my kids were born, and I was watching the it was the one of the parades, and it had to do with, like, all the different, like, prince and princesses and, like, all the different like, not just prince and princesses, but, like, there was, like, all the different characters one after the other, and I remember just getting emotional because I remember my dad taking me to watch the parade.
Mm.
And to see all these, like, different we saw the movies together, you know, he took me to Disneyland, and I remember thinking one day, like, what how that how much that meant to me and how one day I would share that with my children.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I took my children to Disneyland, and by then I knew I needed help. So I had help, I had the kids, I had the headphones, and I remember one of my children was running behind the bathroom to where there's a generator to like get near the noise to rule out all the crowds and the sounds. And I remember that hitting me like a ton of bricks that like I wasn't going to share. I wasn't going to share this with my kids. I wasn't going to
Mhm.
have that with my son,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? And so I kind of got over that. And then we found a different theater that was quiet, so I like, we ruled out the noise, and we ruled out the lights, and we ruled out the people, and I don't remember, it was a really basic childhood, like, Disney someone, and I remember my other son getting underneath the chair and pulling the seat over his head,
Mm.
and I just thought, like, I can't share this with them. I can't
Mhm.
have this with them, and, you know, just such a silly thing, such a, like, out of the blue, like, you know,
But
like,
it's a secondary
why
loss. It's a loss because even as a mom, you didn't expect this.
I
This
did not expect that. I
this
didn't
it was
expect
trying
it.
to get pregnant was the big thing for you, is trying to get pregnant, right?
Yeah,
Trying to have yeah.
and then the other thing was going to the fair. So the LA, we have the OC fair here, and, um, I had figured it out by then. I figured out autism. I figured out a little bit. I knew about the headphones. I knew about a special entrance, and we get there, and the parking and the walk, because my son would wiggle and get out and run, and so I'm like, "Okay, we can't get in. I can't access that entrance. There's the crowd, like, I need a helicopter." Like, I'm very,
Mhm.
like, out of the box thinker, and so I realized, "Okay, we're just gonna drive and look at the gate and leave, and drive and figure out we're gonna park and leave." And then I remember the next time we went this is all in the same season, we were able to get to the entrance, but we couldn't find the special needs entrance, and so we had to leave. And then the 4th time we went, we could actually get inside.
Wow. Talk about changing your expectations
Changing your expectations.
drastically.
drastically. And then another story that, I think was really, really significant was I was still working as a realtor, and I loved my job, and I loved finding homes for people and just having a really flexible schedule and just making people's dreams come true, right? Finding their home.
Mhm.
And um I was going to work into that, like I went to my kids' little Christmas show, and my son at that time was in a special needs class, which was perfection. I mean, we found the best program, and it was all special needs kids, and he was like at the more they call it like mild to moderate to severe. He was in the moderate to severe class, even amongst the moderate to severe class, so they're all in his little group.
Mhm.
And so I walk in, and I'm wearing my like real estate garb, and like my hair's up and my earrings are on, and I'm just like going to go see my son's Christmas show, which is not at a theater, it's in the classroom. And
Mhm.
I walk into the classroom, and I can't find my son. And I look over to the side, and there's this kid rolling around on the ground, banging his head on the floor,
Mhm.
holding the jingle bells. And it was just like,
Mhm.
that's my
Mhm.
son.
Mhm.
And the amazing teachers and aides and front desk ladies. And I took it
Mhm.
really like, I took it and I watched it, and I was fine with it. And I have that recording on my phone because I show it to people now, and I'm like, privately, and to see how far he's come.
He's come so
He's come
far.
so far, guys. The
It's
story's
amazing.
fine. It's fine. It worked out. He did a great.
Yeah,
He's
amazing.
on stage at the beer garden playing the drums now, and it all worked out. And but
But back then,
back then,
it was a
I
moment.
knew that I couldn't make it to the car before I was going to fall apart.
Mhm.
And I asked the lady. She came to me like a year ago when he graduated from 5th grade. She came to me and she said, I remember you coming to me and asking me if there was an entrance and an exit that wasn't through the crowd so
Mm.
that you could, like, you know, get it together because I wasn't going to make it to the car.
Mhm.
And yeah, those
Mm.
people are angels. Those people that
Mm.
were in our life back then and got us
The
through
teachers
that
and
time, the
everybody.
teachers,
Mhm.
all of them. And that's why I mean, if anyone's that's a care that if anyone's a special needs worker or that's working with children in this community, like, you have no idea what it means when you answer that phone, when you're at the front desk, when
Mm.
you're like the aide or walking someone to the car, or like how amazing that these people are. They're
Mhm.
regular people. They're
Yeah.
not like special thinkers. We're that's the other thing that I think, like, we're getting close to, we need to wrap, but we could do this again on a different day. But that's the other thing that people say. And a girlfriend of mine who also has a special needs son, she goes, people always say to me and to her, like, I don't know how you do it. Like, how do you do it? You must be a saint, or you must be. And it's like, no, don't think that. We're
Yeah.
normal people.
I do it
We're
because I have
uh,
to.
we
I mean,
have to. You do it
yeah.
because you have to.
Mhm.
My cousin's son got diagnosed with a tumor in his legs, and she had to do it. She had to go to chemo. She had to go to
Mhm.
radiation. She had to go to the hospital every day. She didn't remember to eat. She just did it. We all just do what we have to do for our kids,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah, this is like bringing up a lot of memories. And, but
Mhm.
yeah, the diagnosis is an instrument that gets you the services that you need to help with the symptoms
The support for you.
and support,
Yeah.
and we
And yeah.
need that. That's how insurances categorize the services you need. Like, if your blood sugar goes down a certain level and you're not processing, you need insulin, you need to have that word
Mhm.
in your file to access those services. And so, you know, Trust your instincts, trust your gut. Also, if you don't like vibe with a certain therapist or a certain doctor, just pick again. Move on. It's okay. Find the helpers, you
Mhm.
know. Um
You're not stuck. You don't have to be stuck with a provider that's not working for you.
no, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. And if you need to pull your kid from school, pull your kid from school and try something different.
Mhm.
You know, I'll wrap with this, but I remember when they were little, things would get a little hairy with like the noise or the lights or whatever. And I
Mhm.
would just like go to the nursery, give each one a bath, put them in bed, dim the lights, and just be with them in that room
Mhm.
where it was safe and comfortable and just slow it down. And I
Mhm.
think that's the other big thing is depending on what kind of a mom you are, what kind of person you are, mom or dad or family, it's just accepting that just slow it down,
Mhm.
you know. I had a really amazing mentor who was my sponsor and I loved for that like raised me for 25 years. And I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, Angie, just slow down, get to their pace, get to their
Mhm.
level, just slow it down, you know.
Mhm.
And I've done that, year after year with my kids.
And that's good wisdom for any of us as parents, right? Because we're like dragging our kids. Let's go, let's go. And it's like, smell the flower that they found on the walk to go pick up Big Brother, like take a second, just be with them, right? It's so powerful to slow down and just be with.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you
Yeah,
thinking of this topic and
I think it's
gathering
important.
those questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes
It's
me right
important.
back.
It's important.
Yeah.
You're living a hell of a life, girl, and I'm watching you. You're quite the mom. It's
Yeah.
really profound to see. And those boys are amazing humans. They're amazing
They're
people.
good people.
They are, and it's because of your investment in them.
Yeah.
So, all of you moms who are out there investing in your kids, listen, you will reap the reward of that. You will. You will
You
see it
will.
in your kids' lives as they get older and you're like, "Wow, I'm so proud. Look at who they've become." And that's because of your investment. It doesn't go without notice. What we plant into their little hearts and souls and minds, it does produce something.
It does. And even when they start getting grumpy and smelly and like cursing or talking back, like they still need you. They
Yeah.
still need you. They're going to tell you they don't. They're going to tell you they don't like it,
Mm,
whatever. And it's like, okay.
okay.
And this is
That's
something I
okay.
work when I'm working with families and parents. I tell them, well, just tell them like, I'm never going to, I'm never going to change. I'm your mom and I love you. And I'm always going to tell you what I think. Sorry. Always. Because no one else gets to be, and has to be their parent but you.
Mhm.
So they can find other people that are going to agree with them or co sign or do all that stuff. I don't mean co sign financially, I mean behavior, but you get the point.